watching.
As in seeing who comes over to Twitch to watch us?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's try something different, right? I like it.
I'm interested.
Yeah, all right.
Interested in the results.
Okay, we're out there.
Sweet. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 249, recorded on August 3rd, 2019. On tonight's episode, we discuss Mario Kart Tour again, but it's massive, crazy numbers since the last time we whined about it. Plus, does your brain need a little bit of a massage, a little bit of exercise? Don't worry, Nintendo has got you covered. And also, did the 3DS kill Alpha Dream? That and so many more topics. Jesse, cue the music.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Marty here from Nintendo Dads, and you're listening to episode 249. It's October 3rd, 2019, and it is still 97 freaking degrees here in the South. It's not October 3rd. We like to call it July 75th down here. Oh my gosh. It's so hot.
Is it a hot one?
It's real bad. Yeah, like,
What?
I mean, it feels like summer outside still.
Like 7 inches from the midday sun?
It is, it's hot like butter.
Hot like butter. All right, I like
It's
it.
hot like butter.
You have weird
but-
butter because mine's refrigerator temperature right now.
Well, but when, yeah, but see, baby, when the butter gets hot, it melts. It slides all over the biscuits and just gets all goopy and buttery. Only when it gets hot, though.
All right.
Hot like butter. Anyway, we want to thank
Okay.
you for tuning in tonight. I'm joined.
Yeah, good night.
tonight-
See you later, folks. It's already
that's
gone
it.
down the
That's
hill.
show. No. We're gonna do a show. Justin Masson, straight
What's
from
going on?
Canada. How are you, buddy?
Good. You know what? It's not here. It's not hot like butter. We got a snowstorm
Shut up.
in Western. No, seriously, Western Canada. We got a snowstorm. Southern Alberta. Talking about probably 2 to 3 feet of snow dumped. There are like our trampoline is covered in snow, and then the clearance from the ground to the trampoline is snow. Like either it's
No.
just level. It's just level
I
set.
don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
So
And
we're
yet,
hot.
with all of that snow, you were drinking a milkshake earlier.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sponsored by Dairy Queen. Not sponsored by Dairy Queen.
Hashtag sponsored, not sponsored.
Yeah, seriously. What's a
And,
man gotta do?
Speaking of what a man has to do, all the way from the middle, if I'm the bottom bun and Justin is the top bun, he's the meat sandwich. He's the meat in the sandwich in between. That sounded bad. Just all that. Let's keep
And our
going.
temperature is perfect. You know, we had it's like 50 degrees right now.
Yeah, my official word to everybody who says anything about cold or perfect temperature, shut up.
Shut your mouth.
The other
Listen, we're melting in the south.
the other day before the cool front went through, we were still at summer temperatures. We had what they called it a record high low. We tied it at like 74 degrees. So it's the low temperature of the day, but it was the highest low for that day.
Well, you know what the highest low for a lot of
Meteorology
people
is
It's listening to
fun.
this podcast.
Oh, that hurts. That
Listening to this
hurts.
podcast. And no, we are so glad you've joined us. We've got a lot of news to talk about, as well as what we've been playing this week. So let's just go ahead and jump right in, shall we?
Let's do it.
Hey, Justin.
Marty.
If you were, say, on the internet and you wanted to join a thriving and vibrant community of people who like Nintendo
Yes.
and also could maybe possibly be dads,
Yes.
where would you go?
Megadads.org.
That is correct.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be a good solution.
That's not the right answer.
Oh, it's not. No.
I mean, we love the Mega Dads, but
We do like them, yeah. But they're okay Nintendo fans. They're fair
We love-
weather Nintendo
Yeah,
fans.
some of us
I-
love
I-
them and some of us like them.
I think most of
You know
us
what?
are patrons.
Yeah, you know what that deserves, Jesse? Deserves a hot take.
Hot take!
Hot take! Megadads is one of the highest, well-produced podcasts out there.
Absolutely.
I believe the actual audio podcast value is tremendous. Absolutely love it. That's my hot take. But of course, you're talking about patreon.com/NintendoDads, where our amazing fans support us every single week. Our nearly 100 Patreon supporters every single week and month keep this thing ad-free going so that we don't require ads from Quip, so that we don't require Harrys.com or Third Love Bras. No, ladies and gentlemen, it's because of you, the amazing Patreons, for even just $1 a month. We greatly support every single penny.
You've been brushing up on your sponsors, huh?
You know who else we do? You know who else we love? We also love Sean Capri. You know why? Because I know Sean Capri is also an amazing supporter of ours as well. So it's a fantastic world.
You know, here's the thing. I don't think people really appreciate the fact that your patronage keeps Nintendo Dads from starting something like this. Do you or a loved one suffer from mesothelioma? If so, call the law offices of Jesse Waldack.
Hashtag lawyer, not lawyer.
Yeah. I love it. I love it so much.
We don't have to talk about mesothelioma on this podcast, thanks to you.
Yeah. Well,
we are.
Let's hope we never have to say that word again.
Mesothelioma.
You just ruined it.
It's a tough one.
Hey, speaking of being,
I said not. We don't want to say it again, and he just said it.
Yeah. Speaking of being set up, a lot of folks during the last Nintendo Direct talked about how notably absent any word of Mario Maker 2 was, especially since Nintendo had come out right after the release of Mario Maker 2 and basically said, you know what? Yeah, we're wrong. We get that you want to play with your friends, and that update is coming. Well, friends, that update is now live as of yesterday, and wow, it is a doozy, and I think something that is going to pull people back into Mario Maker, though I worry, Justin, and I think you might actually agree with me on this. I don't know. Maybe a little too late. Because, and here's my point I want to make with this. Mario Maker 2 had a huge amount of hype, but Nintendo has very suspiciously not said a word about it since sending it out to die.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. Like this update is at least 2 months late. You know what I'm saying? This should have occurred long before now, and we should have had more updates.
I have two theories as to why it took so long.
I'm listening.
Okay, so I played a little with this update earlier before the show. Me and John Blanco and Third Strongest Mole, and I think Drew was hopping on there at the end. Maybe not. I don't remember. Like it was maybe for one match or something. And guess what? There was very, very little lag. Like it was actually playable without making me want to throw my Switch across the room.
Really?
And so I think that the reason that it's been delayed is that not only did this update give us the ability to play with friends, I think this update fixed the connectivity issues with people that you play with.
Have you tried any of the original online modes with the new patch yet, or only the new stuff?
So we played. We did the play with friends. We did co-op levels and we did competitive levels. Didn't try any of the other, but I was really surprised at how fast it connected, like brought up a level, and B, how smooth the gameplay was. Like to the point where, I mean, like a lot of, we played one level that was, I would call very Twitch based. It was different, like one block columns, and you had to jump across them and fall down in between them. Like there was like 2 or 3 blocks in between, and you had to find which one had the pipe so that you could progress the next area. John said that that level was absolutely unplayable before, but
Really?
we were now able to play that and like not, it wasn't like jerking across the screen
Hmm.
or anything like that. The other theory that I have about that is that was one that John actually had, is that they delayed this update to allow there to be a little bit of rest time on the game so that people would see it and then come back to it.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree that there is kind of the hype cycle of a game, the ups and downs, right? You have a peak, so you're not necessarily going to absolutely push that there, right? As your game begins to come on the downswing, that's when you need to do your next update, right? You kind of need to peak and valley it. So that logically makes sense. But I think that the zeitgeist and the energy around something like Mario Maker, and I think we saw this originally too during the Wii U time when Mario Maker came out, is that there were updates that should have occurred long beforehand. That, I mean, it doesn't. The game's not broken. Let's start saying that it's not broken, but you can definitely make the experience absolutely much more enjoyable. And I think that Nintendo really delayed their, kind of dragged their feet on this. There are still updates that need to be done. We are still waiting for some kind of mobile app, ability for me to download a code there that I can play online. We're still wondering, is there more skins that's going to happen? Now, I'm not saying Nintendo has to necessarily reveal that right now, but I think Nintendo is coming with so many hot games. There's no drought. There's no drought where we're screaming for more content and more games, that when this update comes out, you're like, eh. Do you know what I mean? Like, for when this update came out for me, I was like, well, it's great. I'm happy that other people are happy for it. But I'm over that now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I got too many other things going on that I'm just not going to end up doing that.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I see that. Let's talk a little bit about what's in this update for those who don't know, because
Can I just take one quick pause there? I just want to say big thank you, and I know you want to talk about this update. Big thank you to the folks over on Sean Capri's channel who just flooded our Twitch chat. This is why our Twitch chat looks very odd right now. But thank you, Sean, for sending over your group and all your folks there. Thank you for your support as well.
You know what?
Sorry.
We owe him a coffee, like a morning drive time coffee.
Yeah. Hey, also, let me just do this. Sean's whining that he hasn't been on our show for a while. Do you guys want to invite him back on as a guest soon?
Next week.
Next week is episode 250, our 5-year anniversary.
Yeah.
You want to invite Sean Capri on that celebratory episode?
Yeah, I do.
Sean Capri, you're invited. We'll book it. I'll have my people call your people. Sorry, Marty, I interrupted you.
No, that's fine. I mean, and by his people,
he means him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just Facebook message you, Sean.
It's a sleepy text. Send it 2 in the morning.
It is.
Let's talk a little bit about what's in this update, because it's pretty big. But it also dropped with little to no fanfare, which I found pretty surprising. Play with Friends is now available, which means you can play online with friends in either multiplayer versus or co-op. Again, I've tried it. It works wonderful. You can also now select courses uploaded to Course World, as well as ones that maybe you haven't that you downloaded that you really like and you thought, hey, this would be fun to play with friends. Well, now you can do that. And the Nintendo Switch online mobile app is now supported for voice chat in Super Mario Maker 2. So boom, Justin, there is part of your app functionality. It's just not what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not what I want either. I want to be able to peruse different levels online and add them to my game from the app.
Yeah, like the website we could do on the Wii U.
Yeah, I mean they did it with a website for Mario Maker 1. No reason we can't do it with an app now. They added features to Nearby Play, which means you can now play co-op and versus nearby with nearby switches. Say all of that stuff. But here's an important thing. When playing a course saved to CourseBot, the host system doesn't need to be connected to the internet. So it's actually broadcasting the data for the level to the other switches from the host unit.
Right, okay.
They also added an official makers list, which is now in leaderboards. It's incredibly hard to find. I don't know why they did not add this in the actual Course World itself. But if you go to leaderboards, there's a Mario symbol like on his hat. And there are now official makers in there. Nintendo US, Nintendo EU, Nintendo Japan, Nintendo Australia, all and more all have levels in there. You can play the levels from the Mario Maker Challenge at E3.
Nice.
You can play other levels that they've uploaded. There's a weird level that they uploaded because they did that thing with Southwest where they gave everybody a Switch and Mario Maker and Mario hats. That level's in there. Other things that it uploaded or that got taken care of as well. You can now play together directly from any course uploaded to a player's profile.
That's
but
great.
I also noticed, and that's play together on the same console, which was not available before either. That's huge because I remember my son and I wanting to play Mario Maker levels together. We could not do it. And you can do that from any level now in Course World. Maker profiles have been refreshed, and you can now play with a horizontal Joy-Con controller in all game modes.
That's
pretty
great.
huge update.
Yeah.
But the thing is that that's a ton of content. But I don't know if you've done the update yet, Justin. It took literally like 2 minutes. So all of that stuff they were able to enable with very minimal download. So it makes me wonder, what else can they do? You know?
Yeah.
Like they didn't even have to, like the 64 course, up limit tick up from 32. They didn't even have to update the game to do that. They just flipped something on their end of the server and were like, hey, you can have 64 levels now.
And did it up. Yeah.
So I don't think that we're done, but I would say that probably, like you said, the whole rest of the year is so packed. Look for something in like January or February when, like we're waiting on Animal Crossing. Oh, hey, by the way, there's now Mario Maker or Super Mario 2 skin in Super Mario Maker 2.
I love that.
Big, huge thing. When does Nintendo do the next big direct? Because I know they do one every September, and don't they do one every...
I think November.
Is it November?
But it's a light one. It's a light one.
We could possibly get a little bit of news there, but I doubt it.
Yeah. That's fair.
But anyway, this is going to be like my go-to Thursday night game for a while, and so we're going to be running some challenges. And I want to do this. I want to challenge. When Mario Maker came out, we threw down the gauntlet, right? And Switch Island picked it up, and we're like, hey, we can make a better level than you. I'm going to throw that down again because here it is, y'all. It is Spooktober, right? And so
that's the thing.
It's the spookiest month of the year, Jesse. Seriously.
Okay, that's new to me. Spooktober. Never. I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
Spooktober. That's what it's called.
Must be a southern thing.
No, it's a me thing. It's Spooktober. It's taken over.
Okay, just a you thing, so it's even more narrowed down.
It's me, and it's everybody, baby. Everybody gonna be talking about Spooktober. Here's the deal. I am going to make a Ghost House level. I want other podcasts to make a Ghost House level and submit them to us. We will put them out there on a poll. You will vote for the best one. All right? So we're going to call it the Spooktober Spook House Level Challenge.
I like it. I like it.
So podcasts, I'm talking Switch Island, Nintendo Nostalgia. I'm calling you out. All right? Anybody. You submit your levels, we'll play them, we'll put them in a poll, we'll have ours out there too. Look at specifically for Ghost House levels, any theme, Mario World, Mario 1, Mario 3, whatever. Just get your Ghost House level out there for Spooktober. Throwing down the gauntlet.
There we go. Let's got it.
Crusted in candy corn.
Crusted in candy corn.
That's right.
Sounds awful.
That doesn't sound good. No,
and you know what? And you know what, Jesse? You know what else is awful? Justin, what happened to Alpha Dream? It's awful.
Sorry?
What happened to Alpha Dream?
Awful
thing. Tell us.
Yeah, so Alpha Dream kind of this news broke earlier this week, actually. So Alpha
today, didn't it?
Was it? Maybe it was today. Sorry, maybe it's early
today.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I appreciate that. So Alpha Dream, who was the dev team behind Mario and Luigi RPG and a lot of the other Mario and Luigi series games, filed bankruptcy over in Japan. I believe it was Japan or China earlier this week. Now, some of it was citing some of the failures were citing the fact of poor sales in their most recent port of the Mario and Luigi games over to the 3DS. They had a port. Was it early January this year? I think.
Bowser's Inside Story.
Bowser's Inside Story, and it did not particularly sell well. And that was kind of, I believe, the last final game that we actually saw on the from Nintendo onto the 3DS.
The last official Nintendo announced game for the 3DS.
Yeah, exactly. And so the commentary right now is that may have also, due to poor sales, accelerated the closure of the final coffin onto the 3DS. Kind of really tough to for sure determine that. But I mean, it's definitely a sad position to be in. It's definitely sad for all those developers and those hardworking individuals who have made some amazing, great content. I think this was a bit of a byproduct of probably really bad timing organizationally as it relates to the 3DS and the Nintendo Switch. And I mean, and I'm not saying it's exact comparison, apples to apples, but I think we saw a little bit of this, for example, with Atui and Jules. In Chicken Wiggle, right? So thinking that the 3DS was where that energy was going. Basically, the mind share, the shift of attention, and people had shifted over to the Nintendo Switch. So you've got time, energy, and money vested in something that's not moving and not selling. Therefore, you have to pay. You paid your employees, you paid for space, you paid for computers, energy, and unfortunately, the return is not necessarily what you would get from it. And I don't suspect Nintendo would be like, oh well, it didn't go well, so here, I'll open up our war chest and give you some more money. That's a contract that a developer or a company like this ends up bidding for and getting, or works with Nintendo to get, and then they end up doing the dev on it. So definitely a really unfortunate situation. What this means for the Mario and Luigi kind of RPG saga or series going forward, I think that's really quite up in the air. Jesse, am I right? They also did some of the Paper Mario stuff. Am I correct on that?
I have to double check, but I think they did. They've pretty much done. I think they've done most of the recent ones.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily know where that's going to end up landing now from a series perspective. Who would maybe pick up that mantle, so to say, or how that ends up actually working. But we'll hopefully see, and hopefully those devs end up landing on their feet.
The thing to hear is, number one, these are real people who are losing jobs, and that sucks. And so what we don't need to do, and what people don't need to do, I'm not just talking about we the podcast, or I'm talking about we the people, like we video game fans, is don't blame the devs, don't blame the studio, because you just explained it well. I mean, the tide shifted to the Switch, and at the time, a game like Bowser's Inside Story, even though it's a remake, even though it's already been made, right? It doesn't just happen. It's not like a month of people sitting around in a room being like, oh yeah, just put the code in the new hopper. No, it takes time to develop all those assets. And by the time the Switch gained momentum and it was too late, they were probably already well deep into Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story.
Yeah, they made every Mario and Luigi game, even down to the starting a Superstar Saga on GBA.
Yeah, I mean, and two, adding the Bowser's Minions and the Bowser Jr.'s Journey part to Superstar Saga and Inside Story, that didn't help with dev time. So it's unfortunate. It sucks because those were great games. I love Superstar Saga and Partners in Time and Inside Story when they first came out. I just those came out, and then 10 years later they were already being remade. I don't necessarily know that was the right timing on that.
I think Bowser's Inside Story is my favorite one of them, but being a DS game, it didn't need to be remade on a 3DS. It really made no sense. The Superstar Saga remake, that made sense. That was at that time a 14-year-old game with but with 2 generations of hardware to be improved on. That another thing has kind of led to in my opinion, the downfall of the series is the constant additions of the stickers in gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Not just Sticker Star, but in Dream Team and Paper Jam as well.
Yeah,
and
the
I have
thing is
not liked that aspect of the games.
They didn't even develop Sticker Star.
Yeah.
But Jesse is right. It did carry over to Paper Jam.
Yeah. Right. I think the challenge was something like Mario and Luigi's RPG or Dream Team or any of that stuff. I think when I look at other Nintendo offerings potentially that would be really good, there's a bit of a niche audience, right? So it's the net is not as wide. If it was like we're remaking Mario Kart,
yeah, and I'm the niche, and I'm not liking these games.
Yeah, we're remaking Mario Kart Double Dash Deluxe. All right, so that's a wider net, right? You're probably going to have more people who are interested in that, so your attachment rate is potentially higher. But when you have a very niche game for a niche audience, your attachment rate will be lower, obviously, than a wider appealing game. And then
looking at your Persona Q2.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're adding that on top of a system where really the attention and the mind share at that time did shift. I mean, as much as I stood here before and shook my fist about the 3DS is not quite dead yet, folks. Really, it was quite hot to cold on this one. So definitely unfortunate, and hopefully those devs and the folks and the employees there land on their feet.
I want to ask a question here because we're talking about a company who went bankrupt, basically focusing on remakes.
Yep.
But on the other hand, Link's Awakening just came out and did absolute gangbusters, right?
Right.
So I just want to ask this, and I'm not going to presume one way or the other, but maybe this is a hot take. Maybe this is just around the horn. I don't know. What do you think this says about where we are with remakes, especially with news that Bethesda is floating around, or it got leaked that there's a Fallout Legacy collection possibly out there that systems have not been announced for yet. Are we weary? Are we growing weary of remakes? Because in a lot of times in video gaming, you get into different cycles, certain cycles. Like everything's a music game, everything's a shooting game, everything's a racing game. Now are we in the midst of everything's a remake?
I don't.
And is the bubble about to burst, or is this just a casualty?
So I would say this. I think that you have to begin to differentiate between remakes, ports, and bundles, right? Because those are different things, right? So we use a Fallout one, for example. Is that a remake? It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like
no. It sounds like it's
bundle or
it's
port.
A bundle right? Of older games with DLC.
Right. So depending on the audience, that may serve really well, right? So let's look at the Nintendo Switch.
And you can probably sell that for pretty cheap because there's not as much dev time on it as a remaster or remake.
Correct, right? There's probably still some work. There's work that has to be done under the hood, right?
Sure.
But let's take a look at Overwatch. Right, Overwatch is a port. That cost is potentially a little bit different. But when you're talking about a remake, and it also depends on the degree by the remake, right? So Grezzo's remake of Link's Awakening was a ground up, right? Other than we knew the story and the design, everything had to be redone. It all depends again on I think what franchise or IP you pull out of that that kind of bag to determine whether it's applicable or not. And I think that's the challenge there. I think when it's a niche game on a platform that's passing away, you're not going to have that success. I don't think we are getting tired or worn down of remakes. I think remakes can reinvigorate a franchise. I think they can, much like Link's Awakening, bring new players and make old games classic. But I also think there has to be a large amount of time that has to pass. The reason Link's Awakening, I think, works in this favor is the fact that it's nearly 30 years old. Do you know what I mean? You have that. Yeah. I remember,
and the Switch is a port machine.
Yep.
Almost every port on it is, even if it's not any improvement, just let's stick it on there, has done relatively well just because of the handheld aspect and in what it is. Whereas, again, as I said, making a DS game on a 3DS adds very little.
Right.
It's doing it for the sake of doing it.
Devil's advocate here. If Mario and Luigi Partners or Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story remakes had been on the Switch, is Alpha Dream still in business?
I think potentially.
I would agree. I would agree.
I agree. Yeah, I think it would definitely have more sales.
If those had, even if Nintendo had just offered them digitally,
yeah,
and just been an eShop only thing, $15,
yeah,
$20.
I mean,
they could have probably even charged $30 for them, and people would buy them.
Yeah, I mean, here's a great example. I remember thinking, I was like, oh, Mario and Luigi. That looks interesting. And then I was like, I think I have that game. And so I went to my library. I was like, oh, I actually do. I still have that game, and I can actually still play it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not far enough away that it has that significant value to be able to be done again. I do think it's an unfortunate, just niche audience, small install base on a system that was basically dead.
Yep.
Right.
I think that's the reality of it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I think you're entirely right.
People in the chat, let me know if I'm right, if I'm wrong, if we're crazy. Let us know.
Yeah. Speaking of crazy.
Yeah.
The two aren't mutually exclusive. He can be right and still crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's true. Like I said, speaking of crazy, Mario Kart Tour, which we maybe whined a little much about last week. I don't know. I've been playing it still, and I'm like, the more I play it, the more I like it, but also the more I play it, the more I hate myself. So it's a double-edged sword. It is now Nintendo's fastest downloaded title on mobile. In 1 week, Mario Kart Tour has been downloaded 90 million times. 90 million.
That's a lot of downloads. That's a lot of zeros.
It's a lot of zeros.
If like, let's think about, like, let's put some basic math on this. If Nintendo can get every single one of those people to just pay $1, 99 cents for that game, right? $90 million. Now, I recognize Apple's going to take their cut. All the stores are going to take their cut, right? And I realize, but that is absolutely maddening. Now, here's the data I want to know. How many people ended up deleting it afterwards? How quickly was that done? What's we know Gary.
So, what is it? 89,999,999.
Yeah.
All right. So I just did some number crunching. 90 million downloads. Let's presume that 1% pays for the gold pass.
Yeah.
And then even taking off Apple's 30%. That's still $3.1 million revenue monthly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here's the question. The number one earning mobile app for Nintendo so far has been Fire Emblem Heroes. Does this go on to beat it?
That's the challenge, because
I don't think it's a challenge at all. I think it's an absolute yes, and here's why.
Okay.
Which one of those franchises has more widespread mainstream appeal?
I agree with that, but what I wonder though, Marty, is I think that is it too if the average consumer goes in there and takes a look at it, do they know what they need to do and what they're getting and why they're getting that? As opposed to just pay $5 and you have all these things, right? I have to go in there, I have to buy rubies. Those rubies are then used in the year. Like, is it too complicated for the average consumer to actually end up monetizing on it? That's the question. And I think that's what they have done wrong, is they have made it overly complicated.
That's the thing about these mobile games. The average consumer won't pay anything. It's the top 2% that feeds it all.
Well,
correct.
I don't know if this is worth a mention or not, but because it was minor, they did update the game this week.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of things happened with that. Number one, they it did a little bit of bug fixing to the game, but the other thing it did was it made the shop button appear in other places in the game.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, it did.
So, like, now it's easier to find the shop.
Is it easier to accidentally push the button when you want to push something else? Because that happens to me in a lot of other games.
If you are,
I am
on the
not
main
happy when it
screen,
happens.
Like, think about it this way: like, it used to be the main screen was like you're picking your cup, and down at the bottom it says menu. Now over to the side of that, like you used to have to tap menu and then tap shop, but now over to the side of that, it has menu, and then to the right it says shop.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And then when you tap menu,
it's,
shop is still in the same place. So it's just a shortcut, and it's in other places too. It's not just on that main screen.
see, because I've had games, giving a menu, and like this button here is what I normally use to go on. An update will turn that into the shop button. So I instinctively push that button instead, and I don't like it when devs do that. Right, now
what I don't understand is, like, I mean, I figured out how to switch CCs, so I'm on 100 CC now. It is a little more challenging, a little more difficult, but I've like been seeing people I follow on Twitter saying that, like, oh yeah, I've only got 6 more characters to get. How are you getting all? And they're like, I've not paid anything. How are you getting all these characters? I just keep getting Koopa Troopa over and over again.
I mean, I will give you. I've been playing it for the week. I have been enjoying it. And again, so I know we all had out with it last week. My challenge with it, and again, I mean, if you don't like the monetization, you don't have to buy it. That's fine, right? I just don't necessarily. I think this is a very odd modeling for Nintendo. But I'm enjoying the game. Like, I'm still playing it. I'm still doing well. I'm having to, to your point, like last week, Marty, I have to really try and go back in and beat them to try and get all the stars I need. I need to go back. I need to do the daily challenges, which are bringing me back in. I'm having to try to get all 5 stars. I'm enjoying it. So I think it's great. I'm not overly shocked by the 90 million. I cannot wait to see Nintendo's fiscals on this and see what the conversion rate is, because that very much interests me.
Well, our friends from Game Explain also put up a video earlier on tonight-ish. It'll be earlier on Thursday when you're hearing this live on your podcast, that it's possible that Nintendo has leaked a couple of courses accidentally in some screenshots that they found, including a Luigi's Mansion course that was probably taken from Mario Kart 8, which means that Luigi is most likely coming to the game soon. He's very notable in his absence.
0.3% chance.
Yeah. So I just decided, since we were talking about characters and stuff, I went in. I've gotten 6, 7, 8 of the characters, and I play with one of them, or 2 of them. My 2 highest rated characters right now are Bowser and Toadette. And that's saddening to me. It's also saddening to me that there's multiple versions of the same character when they had all. I said that last week, but where's Luigi and where's Green Mario?
My hope here is that Nintendo realizes that people like Mario Kart a lot. Yes. And that this reinvigorates them to kind of say, what can we do to put Mario Kart back in the mind share or back in front of our consumers that will ultimately help us make money as well.
Here's the problem with that. This is where I worry about this app, because the more money this app makes, the more incentive they have not to make Mario Kart 9.
Correct. Like, that is the challenge. Like, we put this much of time, it's the time and effort versus money equivalent, right? We put this much amount of time and effort into it. We have made X amount of money. Why would we do anything different? And that's a great question that they are going to be forced to ask, and us as consumers are going to be forced to ask, right? Again, and I am not shocked about the amount of money this game made, or this. Sorry, not made. I apologize. The amount of downloads.
No, and I think it's going to even grow even faster.
Yeah.
Wait until all those little kitties get their brand new shiny
he froze.
He did freeze.
Don't
He did
give a
freeze.
rip about mobile games or about video games in general. And they saw me playing Mario Kart on my phone, and they're like, oh, Mario Kart on your phone, is it free? Yeah, it's free to start. And
And then
like, I had like 5 or 6 of them download it right there
Yeah.
at that moment. So, I mean, it definitely has sway. It
Yeah.
definitely has some sway. A couple other little news items we want to pick out here. New Brain Age game was announced this week out of the blue. Coming to Switch December 27th in Japan. So far, Japan is the only place that this has been confirmed, but you guys know this is coming over here.
Oh, it
It was too
definitely
big.
coming over
The,
here
the
with-
original one was too big here to not come here.
Yes, with certain modifications. Like there's a mode in it where you have to remember the kanji characters on screen and write them out. That's not coming over here. But interestingly enough,
localize it.
Jesse, one of the things I picked up on was it primarily uses Tate mode for
Well, do you remember how the DS game was played?
yeah. I mean, you had to turn it on its side, but
Yeah, so it's exactly the
obviously
same.
that was coming, but like this looked like a ton of fun. It includes a Dr. Mario minigame. It also includes the very first use, I think, unless something comes out here sooner, it'll be the very first use of the alarm system setting on your Switch, which will light up around the home button. It's a genius way they're using it.
It comes with a stylus
to-
that looks decent.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's why that's why I think it's coming over here, because they implemented stylus mode, and we have that on our, of course, I guess versions of the Switch doesn't really matter. They're going to go out for everywhere, but the little ring and your Joy-Con will vibrate and light up when it's time for you to do Brain Age. Like you'll
That's
set
great.
a time every day, and it will vibrate and remind you. And I
smart.
just think that's genius.
Yeah, I think, and here's the thing: the do you guys kind of know the history a little bit of Brain Age?
I'm a little bit familiar.
So, and again, I have to re-recall some of the memory around it, but it was such a huge, like, this is kind of the game that took the original DS by storm.
Mhm.
And it was a bit of a concept game that was made more than anything else, and Nintendo ended up finding great success with it. But it really was just kind of a helping out, and I think it was there was a doctor who's very, very interested in kind of just keeping your brain sharp and helping with Alzheimer's and some of those challenges associated with it. But this game really, like, I remember, like, this was the game that my folks, when I came home one day, they were like, "Oh yeah, we have DSs." I was like, "I'm sorry, what? Why do you have a DS?" "Oh, we love this game called Brain Age." Like, Brain Age was the game that got the DS into the household. And it was the same kind of idea in the approachability as Wii Sports getting the Wii into the household as well. That was kind of the Trojan horse. So I think this is really huge to get more casual individuals into the Nintendo Switch ecosystem as well. I think it's an absolutely fantastic play, and I'm excited to see what the actual sales figure is going to be like for it.
I think that here's the only thing, Justin. I think that it's going to be I'm not going to say it's not going to do well, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a harder sell.
Yep.
Now, because the Switch has, I don't know, like I'm trying to find the words to say this. I think it has, I don't want to say stigma, but it has the air around it of this is a gaming system only.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
I definitely agree with that.
so I think that it has a ways to go, but I'm excited for it. I'll be picking it up day one when it comes out. I just think you're definitely, I mean, obviously, y'all know you're not going to be able to play this on your TV.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's going to be handheld docked only. But hey, what better game to bundle with a Nintendo Switch Lite when it comes out?
Yep.
Because
That's a great point.
you have
That's
an
a great point.
undockable system with an undockable game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is there going to be, because if the game does incorporate Joy-Con auto system Joy-Con, then that might make it that difficult.
Yeah,
I'm
didn't
not
it
sure.
require?
Your Switch Lite will light up. It has the light around
But
the
you know,
home
but
button.
you know what? You know what though, Marty? Do I not remember seeing the commercial showing that you do require the IR sensor on the Joy-Con?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it
so they're not.
does for rock paper scissors and for math
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're not going to do like you're still going to be able to play it, but you'd probably have very limited functionality.
That's true. I don't. I think it's going to be one of those that's on the list. You know,
Yeah.
you can't do this on Nintendo Switch Lite. You're right.
Yeah.
You can't. And that sucks because it's a perfect system for this purpose.
Yes.
Unless Nintendo comes out with some like really bonkers, like attach the IR sensor to the Nintendo Switch Lite. And you know what's funny about that is like
Is
every
that like
one
the
of us
amiibo hockey
totally
puck
see
for
that
the old
happening, right?
DSs?
Yep.
Yeah. I 100% agree, Marty. I'm like that sounds bonkers. That does not feel like it's outside the realm of possibility.
It sounds just bonkers enough to be Nintendo.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I'm not knocking it at all, but it'll be interesting to see if news of this, if it's going to come out here when. Honestly, y'all, I could see this coming out in December here as well if they can get it localized.
Yeah,
Because there is no December game yet,
yeah,
right?
that's a good point.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing
December
this if it does
27th
get
not
a
a great-
Western release.
Yeah.
December 27th is not a great Western release date, but it may be January for us or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Pokemon because tons of little tidbits of Pokemon Sword and Shield information have come in this week, all from Game Informer. And some of these have stirred Pokemon fans up quite a bit. So let's just run down these and then we'll talk about them. Experience share will return, but it isn't an item in the game as it was before. All Pokemon will now get the same amount of experience no matter what, which is great for casual fans like me who hate leveling up extra Pokemon. Just let me give them all the same experience. Fantastic. Great. I love it. This says it's unknown yet if it's something that can be turned on or off or if it will always be on. It cannot be turned off.
Okay, yeah, I wrote this earlier in the week
Yeah,
when
that
it
has
wasn't
come out
known.
since then. It can't be turned off. HM's hidden machines will not be returning at all. Of course, those have been pretty much primarily done away with in recent games by Ride Pokemon. So this is not surprising. The games will also, for the first time, incorporate an autosave feature that can be turned on or off as needed, but traditional save states will also exist. It's going to be interesting to see if you can only have one save state per profile on your Switch, like previous Pokemon games.
Mm-hmm.
That's some bullcrap from way back that needs to go. I'm just calling it.
Well, again, I think if they do something similar to what Let's Go did, yeah, it'll still be one save state per profile, but at least now you can have multiple profiles on a system where back, Game Boy DS eras, it was one save state per cart.
Right. I understand that, but that's still some like traditional wackadoo stuff that they have long exceeded the technical limitations for they need to end.
It's not technical. I think it's more of, the same reason why they don't allow cloud saves. They don't want people trading a Charizard to someone else and then loading a previous save. No. To get a Charizard back.
Okay. Also, info from Cerebi.net. There will be 18 gyms in the game spread across minor league and major league, but the Pokemon Company has now come out and said that each version of Pokemon Sword and Shield will have 8 gyms and 8 gym leaders that trainers can challenge in a major and minor league. But those 8 gyms will be different in each version of Sword and Shield. What the crap?
I'm confused.
Just since you love Pokemon so much, what's your take on this?
See, this didn't seem too bad in black and white when it was just one gym that was different between the two. But, like, all of them being swapped out, that's excessive.
Yeah, there's two parts of this that I read, right? The first part is the monetization, right? So you want the whole game, you gotta buy both of them. Ha ha ha. Which okay, fine, right? And if you're a parent with two kids and you know one wants one, the other wants the other, like I'm sure that's easy enough, right? Or maybe you want one version, your kid wants the other, great, you can trade. But I think that, and the point, I guess, of Pokemon, correct me if I'm wrong, keep me honest here, folks, right? Is it's about connecting, right? And that's what all their advertisements will say. It's about going out, it's about connecting, it's about meeting people, it's about trading, right? Okay, so I guess I get what you're saying. I get what you want us to do, which is to go out, meet people, connect with people, trade gyms. And is that how that would work? We trade gyms?
No,
We trade
No,
gyms?
you can't trade gyms.
No, you can't. You only trade Pokemon. So if you want all 18, you have to go.
you have to play through the
You have
game
to get
twice. One in each version. Or
It's to drive game sales. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have no problem with
like
some Pokemon on one version, some Pokemon on the other. That is to incentivize trading, and that makes sense. And that's been the staple since the first game. But you know, having all these gyms that just don't exist on one card or another, again, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah. So we asked this question.
It definitely is not going to incentivize me to play twice. I will buy a version and play that version and do some trades with my son to get the other Pokemon that I'm missing, but I'm not going to replay it again.
Sure.
I know I'm not. I don't have that kind of time.
So like I said, we did a poll over on Twitter earlier. Right now, the question was, do you think there should still be two versions of each Pokemon game at this point in the franchise? And right now, no is winning with 64% of the vote. And we followed up by asking, why do you feel that way? And I want to highlight some of these responses. At TechMike12 says, I think as adults, we don't see the point. As kids, though, this makes it more exciting to trade and battle between the versions. Neo Lego.
Can I just make a point? I have no issue with the trade point of it. I think that's brilliant. I love the idea of, hey, I have to, like Jesse, I'm excited that when I have Pokemon Shield and I come to Kansas and I see you, we could swap Pokemon. That's cool. That excites me. And I'm a nearly 40-year-old grown man, right? I think that's a pretty cool function. I have no problem with the whole, like, swapping Pokemon back and forth. That I'm fine with. Totally above board. I think that's the DNA of what it is to be a Pokemon player. And that's what every Pokemon game does. That's part of the quintessential ideology around Pokemon. The challenge that I have around it is you don't get these other ones. You don't get this other gym. I had to make, like, when I ordered recently, and I'm okay with, like, the legendaries being different. I'm cool with that. I get that, right? Different legendaries. That's fine. But when I pre-ordered, I had to literally say recently, I was like, well, which one is more interesting to me, right? Which one has things that I think are interesting? Is it Sir? What's the guy they just released?
Sirfetch'd.
Is it Sirfetch'd? Is it that weird goth ghost girl who's a gym leader on the Shield side? Which is it? Like, it used to just be a little bit easier to make that decision, I suspect.
Yeah, and like I said last week, whenever we talked about Sirfetch'd last, is whenever they do have a Pokemon that's limited to one, there's usually a similar one limited to the other. So there's going to be probably a Gen 1 Pokemon that gets a new evolution. They just haven't announced it yet. But because they haven't announced it, if you pull which version do you get 80% saying Sword now.
Mm-hmm. I'm still getting Shield because
absolutely, so am I.
Shield Doggo is way better than Sword Doggo.
I believe this, and actually I think it was Tom Marks over on IGN made the greatest point. He said, I always go for the one that people are not going for. And that's like, okay, well, why? Because now you're the most popular person because you're the person they want to trade with.
Yep.
So they come to you, you don't go to them. I was like...
To your point, Justin, I want to say this. It is concerning, I think, that more and more content, not just like a Pokemon here or there, but more and more content is basically being version locked behind certain versions of the game.
Yep.
Thus, transitioning Pokemon not from a hey, $65 and you're in, or that, you know, $60 and you're in, but now it's I'm spending $140 basically, if I want the whole thing, and that is not cool. And you know, the way that you do that, the way that you fix that is you vote with your dollars. But anyway, I wanted to read some more of these responses.
Yeah, you do that, and then I've got a question for Jesse because he'll know better about this.
Yeah. At Neo Lego, Chris White, he says the concept was to encourage trading in the playground with your friends, which you guys talked about in Japan. That worked, much less so in the U.S. In over 20 years of playing the series, I've never traded a Pokemon once. Have no need to. I'd rather get one game with all the content included. Amen. At the Block Fort followed up, commented on his tweet and said, I did it a ton as a kid, but as an adult, it's pretty rare to find another adult playing Pokemon. And even if I did, what? I'm going to walk up to a total stranger and ask to trade Pokemans? Nope. And then he follows up with another comment of his own. Probably not. I can't even think of another franchise that still does this, but fans would riot, and Pokemon Company loves money too much. Will always have two Pokemons. At Kern said, I've never played a Pokemon game. It's a lot of investment to have someone play two sets of the same game, assuming you get different outcomes from each title. At Chris Logal, I can't see why two versions are needed. What's the difference between Pokemon Let's Go or Pikachu or Eevee other than the character on the front? And he's right about that. At Bujamba, Ariel Bujosa says, the community aspect of the game is great. However, I don't understand why one game can't contain several different tracks, which locks out part of the content unless you want to replay the game, not unlike Fire Emblem Three Houses. This could still function in practice the same way as traditional Pokemon games, except without having to buy what is essentially the same game twice to play through most of the content. Contrary to everyone else at the Theo Logan, Logan Sharp says, I voted yes because it's about the community aspect. You go down to one game and you lose that. And Warp Star Hero says, I'm okay if they keep making more changes between the two versions than just a few different Pokemon in some areas.
So we kind of, those who commented kind of split reasonings, which is, I like that.
Yeah. So, Justin, what was your question for Jesse?
Well, I do want to say I think all those statements are very logical, right? Yeah. And I would, you know, like imagine like if Pokemon said the following, company said the following, we've actually decided to take out trading altogether, and you just get one game that has everything. I think that would be a larger argument and shift and shake to the community than currently what this statement is here.
Yeah.
But I guess my question to you, Jesse, sorry, that was commentary. My question to you, Jesse, because I don't know the franchise enough. There's always like a third version that comes out like 9 months later, right? So in this case, it'd be like Pokemon Spear. I don't know. You know,
Pokemon Trebuchet.
Yeah, Trebuchet, right?
We made that joke last year.
Right. I thought so, but I was like, did we say that before?
We did. It was a show title.
But thank you. Does that include everything like of the two mixed together?
Not 100%, but they do blend. So they'll take some aspect, like taking Ruby, Sapphire, and then I don't remember what the third one was for that. So like you'd have like say 6 Pokemon that was unique to one version, 6 Pokemon unique to the second version. When it comes to the third version, they might pull 3 from each pool. And so there will still be, if you've only ever played one version and then played the third, you will see a Pokemon you've never seen before, but you're still not going to be able to get them all in the one.
See, I think this 2 version thing was way more important when the internet didn't exist. And I think that the fervor for that 2 version, trade on the playground, trade on the bus, whatever, has dissipated as I'm able to send a Pokemon cross country to you via the tubes of the internet. And I just don't see, like, I love the idea of the Fire Emblem way of doing it. Like, if you pick this track, if you pick this starter or whatever, you'll see these gems and you'll see this Pokemon. Because, you know, think about it. I mean, Fire Emblem could go that way too if we're not careful. Oh, you want
Mm-hmm.
Fire Emblem Golden Deer Edition? You want Fire Emblem Black?
Well, in a way,
Eagle
in a way they
Edition?
tried that with Fates, and
Yeah, and it backfired.
it backfired. So they
And
kind of
that's what I'm saying. It's
backpedaled
like
on with
it.
the latest
The
one.
only fandom, and I'm sorry, Pokemon fans, this is going to sound hateful, but I promise you, the only fandom that still accepts this crap is the Pokemon fandom, and they do it because that's the way it's always been. Tradition.
Well,
And guys, sometimes
the Dragon Quest fandoms say the same thing.
yeah, you take the traditions out back sometimes and you kill them like the sacred cows they are. Sometimes you need to do that to progress. Because, like, it's funny to me that everybody talks about how, like, when Pokemon Sword and Shield was finally revealed, everyone's like, well, that didn't progress very much. But then if you start talking about getting rid of two versions or getting rid of this or getting rid of this, well, you can't get rid of HMs. They've been in since the beginning. What do you want? You know, do you want
HMs
true
can die in a
progression?
fire.
Or do well, TMs can, and held berries and all that other crap can go die in a fire too. I don't want that. I just want I really
Well, at least
want
the TMs and
illegal
berries at least
cockfighting
adds
simulator game.
a strategic aspect to the
As a
game. The
Japanese
HMs just require you to eat up move slots on a Pokemon that you would
Yeah.
normally not even have in your
And it's
party.
like here's another one that kills me too. It's like here we are, it's 2019, right? And Pokemon can still only have 4 moves. Okay? Time to die. Kill it. Let's progress the series into something better. We're done talking about Pokemon before we really make people mad. I'm still buying Pokemon Shield. I'm still going to enjoy playing it. Yeah, I mean, you know who my main Pokemon is going to be, don't you? Is that Galarian Weezing. It's just too proper.
I say,
But listen, if you have thoughts about this Pokemon information or you have thoughts about the 2 game system and everything, tweet us at Nintendo Dads and we will talk to you over there. Or hey, come join in the discussion over on our Discord server by becoming a Patreon follower. And we'll talk to you there too. It's okay to not like games. It's okay to have differences. It's okay to have opinions. Right?
Right.
Thank you.
Now, Jesse, before we transition next, there's something else going on tomorrow for the Pokemon Company, a 24-hour...
I don't know exactly what this is yet, but starting at 6 a.m. Pacific tomorrow morning, so by the time you're listening to this, it's probably already going, or there'll be a 24-hour live stream. I don't know what it's going to be.
Something about a forest maze.
Yeah, it's basically like as if they were finding, a footage of the forest, but it's in the world of Pokemon. So it'll be I'm sure I think this is an interesting campaign, like a marketing campaign. I'm fascinated by weird marketing campaigns, so I think this will be very cool. I might even just tune in just to.
I'll probably have it up and running in the back, with volume down while I'm doing work. But
can we just live stream that the entire thing? And you just sitting there diligently eating.
I'm not live reacting for 24 hours.
Eating like popcorn for 24 hours and just seeing what happens and be like,
no.
Oh my God, is that a Pikachu? Is a Pikachu wrestling? It's coming out of the bush. Oh my gosh! Oh no!
It's a Galarian Zigzagoon.
Look at that! Did you see that? Did you see that?
No, I'm not doing
I think
that.
it'd be hilarious. No, you're killing me here, Jesse. You're killing me.
But I am interested in seeing what they're going to do with this thing, and hopefully someone watches enough of it to actually write down highlights.
24 hours is a long time to watch anything. Seriously, it's a long time to watch anything.
I agree.
I don't know, guys. That's pretty much our news for this week, I think. How about we jump into what we've been playing?
Do it.
All right, Jesse Waldak, what have you been playing, man?
Okay, so Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening came out last week. I picked it up right away and started playing through it. And I was enjoying the beginning of it, just like I knew I would. But when I got to this, around the 6th dungeon, it started to frustrate me, and I think it always has. But I normally will start going to walkthroughs and grind through it. This time I have been trying to avoid walkthroughs, and I did get into the 7th dungeon, and it is frustrating me to no end.
Is that the Eagle dungeon?
I don't know.
Turtle Rock.
That's not Turtle Rock. This is in the far northeast corner.
Oh yeah, that's Eagle.
Okay, yeah.
That's the one where you have the other 2D boss fight for the game.
Okay, I don't remember what's in there. So I ended up putting that down for my next game, but if I do have the time to pick it up again, I'm gonna have to walk through it to finish the game.
Yeah, so, that's the most frustrating dungeon in the game, is because it's one where you've got to knock down all those columns and drop the top level down.
Yeah. And then the very first thing I did in there, I picked up the big metal ball and threw it somewhere I couldn't reach it anymore. I'm like, well, I just ruined this run. I have to leave and come back to reset the damn thing.
Yeah, it can be very frustrating.
Yeah, and I was hoping I would like the dungeon creator mode more than I am. Again, the problem I'm having is I just don't have enough pieces. So I'm trying to fit together things, and I'm running out. I don't have enough pieces to do what I want to do with it.
I have words about the dungeon creator mode.
I'm looking at people's monthly mayhem submissions, and they have almost 200 pieces. I'm like, dang, I don't. And if I had that many pieces, I probably wouldn't have the issue. But it's yeah. So I'm kind of, and that was my big. What I was hoping would be good to push it toward being worth the $60 price tag. Now that I've played what I've played, I'm kind of almost regretting the purchase. Not really regretting the purchase, but I wish it wasn't 60. At least I vouchered it, so I got it for 50.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I have issues with this game. And again, maybe I've always had issues, but I forgot about it since it's been so long since I played it.
Fair enough.
It's definitely isn't a streamlined experience like I was hoping it for.
Okay.
Then I also we got a review code of NeoCab. We were embargoed until yesterday morning, so I couldn't talk about it or put anything out until yesterday morning. So Tuesday evening, I played the first night, which was under an hour and a half. So like an hour 20, hour 15. So you're kind of like an Uber driver who are driving into this new city that is almost completely automated. So the main rideshare company in the city is run by automated cars. In fact, there's something happened in the lore of the store in the city where like there's trying to outlaw driving in the city because humans behind the wheel are unsafe and there's a danger because the automated cars knows where all of the other automated cars are, so there's no accidents. But apparently they don't monitor the driving cars, because whose fault is this really? But anyway, so you go there to meet an old friend who kind of had a falling out, but trying to get back to be friends with again, and you're going to move in and have a new life in a new city, and things turn south at the end of that first night, which kind of opens up the mystery of the game. So, and then I was enjoying the story, and during the first day I didn't have any technical issues, but during the second day I had several soft locks on me. Most of them cleared up on its own after like a minute or two of just hitting the buttons. But there was a few that, I let the game run for 10, 15 minutes and it never unlocked. And it wasn't a hard lock because I could still hit plus, access the menus, tell it to load my previous save. It does autosave at the end of every ride.
Mm-hmm.
But some of these rides can still take 20 or 30 minutes, and you have to and with very dialogue heavy. So like visual novel-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think day 2 and day 4 and I think at day 5 I had problems too. At least the day 5 one I was able to recover from that. But yeah, there was definitely there's enough characters in the game that you can't talk to them all.
Okay.
In one playthrough, and so it leads to additional playthroughs. I know there's at least 3 endings. There might be more. And you have to, while you're doing this, you have to make sure you don't run out of money, because you need to spend money to sleep at night, and you have to not run out of energy in your car. It's like apparently battery operated car, so they don't have gas, but they have charging stations. And you have to maintain your driver rating with your passengers. And I almost lost that driver rating. I had like a 1 star and 2 3 stars, and if you have less than 4 stars over like 3 days in a row, then you'll get deactivated.
Oh no!
So I'm presuming that turns into a game over, but I did not see that ending. I eventually did get into what is probably the 2 most significant endings, and the difference between the 2 was literally a choice I made in the last scene. So that happens on night 6. Played through that scene, and then when I was done, I saw the credits. I got the ending. Well, none of the endings are actually good. I don't know which one's supposed to be canonical, but they're all a little bit depressing in one way or another. But I found one ending, and then I just said continue to load from the last autosave, and it brought me right back at that point where I made the decision. So I just made the other option. So I saw the second ending. I was able to do that like within 20 minutes of seeing the first. So, yeah, other people said they finished it in 4 or 5 hours. I think it took me closer to probably more like 8 to 10. Probably because I read slower than they do. Probably because I had the hardware issues. And I don't know if it's limited to the Switch version, because I've heard other people, everyone else, I was in a chat with other people who've also reviewed the game, and it seems like I'm the only one who had the problem. So possible they played the Xbox version or the iOS version or something, and no one else has had a problem. So that's why I think it might be Switch only.
Okay.
But so if you give it I like the story, and I would like to try to play it again and talk to more characters. But just with my backlog, I don't know if I'll have a chance to do it anytime soon.
That's fair. That's fair enough. Great. Marty, what about you, sir? What have you been playing?
So I've been playing I spent a really big amount of my weekend playing it, and finished it on Monday night. And when I mean Monday night, I'm like thinking 1 a.m.
Tuesday, 4 in the morning.
Like, well, I mean, like, it was night going over Monday. So, I'm when I say I completed the game, I'm done with everything except the final heart container. And the final heart container is locked behind a challenge that Dompe gives you in the Dungeon Builder. When you finally finish all of his tasks for you, he gives you the final heart, which is worth, it's not like a piece, like he had been giving pieces, but now the last one, he gives you the equivalent of a full heart, and you 100% the game.
Nice.
So here's the thing. This game was beautiful. It was gorgeous. It always evokes emotion in me for some reason, because I don't know, like, there's just something about the story that is so, it's sad, but it's hopeful at the same time. And Nintendo did it masterfully back in the day. and still did with this one. The humor of the game is fantastic as well. I think I talked about that last week. It's one of the most well-written games, and the way it's been updated, even, is cool because they take they take a few concepts from the original game and extend those without spoiling too much. I'll say this: like the Yoshi doll is not the only Nintendo doll you can find in the game, and there's just some other little updated things here and there. I will say that in the end, I was disappointed that, like other remakes or remasters, it did not have an extra component after it was done. And what I mean by that is Nintendo's kind of set a precedent in the Metroid series, like with Metroid Zero Mission and Metroid 2, The Return of, or Samus Returns, of there being what you might call post-game content, right? Like something extra after what you know. And I was hoping for that with Link's Awakening, and I didn't get it. Now, that doesn't mean I'm disappointed in the game because of it. It's just that I set my own expectations too high, right? So I think the extra in this game is the Dampé stuff with the dungeon builder, but I'm so done with the dungeon builder that I don't even know that I'm going to go back and get the last heart. That's how done with it I am. And it's all over one boneheaded decision about how stairs connect. And it is the most ridiculous rule in the game. And like, people want to defend it like it's like, well, the reason it's like that is because they want you to make it more like a dungeon. And I'm like, no, the reason that they did it like that is because they want you to use more pieces so that this tacked on dungeon builder mode will look like it added significant value to a game that you were already really familiar with. So it's artificially made, it's artificially enhanced value to me. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, like, you'll get to challenges where you have to make like you have to connect stairs.
Yeah, I got to the challenge where it had you put 8 cells that are blocked off.
Yes.
Each with a treasure chest. So you have to do something outside to stare into the inside and then be able to stare out to get to the end.
Yep.
That's as far as I got, and I couldn't clear that one.
Let me tell you why you can't clear it. Because whoever coded this stupid dungeon builder thing made it so that stairs connect to the set of stairs that is closest to them.
Right.
So,
but I didn't even get that far. I couldn't even lay out the eight treasure chest rooms.
If you want, like, you could lay it out exactly like it asks you to, have a stair piece in every one. And the thing is this is maddening. You cannot select which staircase your staircase connects to.
That would only make sense to do so. I didn't understand that decision.
It makes no sense. So what you have to do is, to get stairs to connect properly, is you have to artificially lengthen your dungeon. You have to move it out, and you have to have all these extraneous rooms where you're just playing through them, because guess what? Arbitrarily, you have to have this much space between this set of stairs and this set of stairs so they'll link up and not link up to the ones right next to them. It's so stupid. And to me, like, the dungeon builder was great. I was having a ton of fun with it until that. And that, to me, was almost like it took me out of any enjoyment. It felt like when it ceased to feel fun and it felt more like a chore, I was done. I was like, I really don't care about this anymore. I want the heart, but I can't play through 5 more challenges. I mean, when it took me 45 minutes to assemble a dungeon, then it took me 6 minutes to play through.
Right.
No. I'm sorry. All because of those stupid stairs. But anyway, I still think you should buy Link's Awakening. It's fantastic. Besides all that, it's really, really good. And it's worth finding all the secrets. It's worth going the extra mile to find all the little shell pieces and the heart containers, because it lets you see the entirety of the island. It's worth it to get all that. And even the trading game that leads up to the item at the end that you can get is great. And it's my favorite. I've decided after long thought, this is my favorite Zelda game.
That's great.
Previously, it was Wind Waker. So this is my favorite Zelda game, then Wind Waker, then Link to the Past. Another game I want to talk about is not on the Switch. And so I don't know if I'm breaking rules about this, but I don't care. I feel like it could possibly eventually come to the Switch. But it's a game right now that's on Apple Arcade. And so if you are on iOS 13, you'll notice in your App Store, there is this little joystick icon now down at the bottom. It says Arcade. And you can get a free month of Apple Arcade and then it's $4.99 a month after that. But there's this game that is on there right now called Assemble with Care. And it is fantastic. It is about a girl named Maria who who's like, she's handy. She's a tinkerer. And she goes on a trip away from her parents, basically to get away from them, get out from under them. And is basically, you join her in process, and she's going to this town where she's going to attend a food festival. And what she's been doing is going around to different places for like a year, earning money, honing her trade. And she gets there and she has to make money for the food festival. So she starts handing out flyers. And what happens is people start to take notice and they bring things for you to fix. And so you have to take apart things like a radio or a watch or different things like that and replace different parts. And then tap on the screen to put the screw in and then screw it back in with the screwdriver and all this stuff. But
PC repair simulator?
It is, but I don't feel like it's as technical as
not
that.
Not that picky?
Yeah. But all of this, okay, is wrapped up in like a novella with really, really good voice acting. And I really love the art style of the game. And it's only 13 chapters long. So it gets you to this really good sweet spot of like, I really enjoy this game. And then it cuts you off, which
that's cool.
Is really a good thing with games. Is like, I've always been taught with games, working with kids, is like you get them to the point where they're having the most fun with it. And then you say, okay, we're done. Because in other words, what you do is you don't let them burn out on it. You kill it when it's the most fun, so they'll ask for it again. And so I would totally play this again and probably will play through it. I think it's a great game for parents to play with their kids because part of the story is a girl dealing with the death of her mother and a father who is overstressed and overworked, and she just wants a relationship with him. And so, I mean, it's not like just a happy-go-lucky game. It's actually got some meat and some depth, and I really, really enjoyed it. And there's tons of games on there right now. I'm blown away by how many games are on Apple Arcade right now that are coming to the Switch. That this has saved me money.
Sure.
I know. I've been looking at that too, and if I didn't have my backlog. I probably would have already signed up and looked into it because I know like
Shantae Seven Sirens.
Shantae, Cat Quest.
Cat Quest 2 is on there. Sonic Racing is on there. Earth Knight is on there, which is that funky dragon free fall game that they showed off during the Indie Direct. The brand new game from the Snipperclips devs, Tangle Tower, that's coming to Switch. It's already on there. And those are just the games that have been announced right now. There's tons more coming. So I think it's worth it, but I will tell you on the front end, it has been confirmed if you get the service and you cut it off, as soon as you cut it off, you lose access to all those games immediately. So I mean, they'll sit there on your device, but you just can't. They won't boot up. It's also worth it, by the way, for what the golf. I hate golf. I hate the very idea of golf, but I love this game. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that one kind of interested me as well.
Tons of humor.
I was on the fence on that one.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I've been playing.
Cool. Excellent.
Had you been playing anything? I walked away. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, I actually really haven't been. It's just been kind of a really crazy week here. What did I play though? Last night we my daughter and I streamed episode 2 of Daddy and Daughter Play Random Strangers on the Internet in Super Smash Brothers and try and beat them. and I'm
How'd that
excited to
go?
announce that we will have a third episode. Because we
So are you going to play until you beat somebody?
Yep. Episode 3 will be next week, probably. We're going to kind of keep playing until we beat someone.
I love
So
it.
that's all right. Yeah. Played a little bit of Fortnite. You know what? That's basically been it. I just didn't have a lot of other time this week. I will say, however, I am currently playing Yooka-Laylee, and The Impossible Lair comes out next week. Big thanks to our friends over at Team 17 and Platonics. We are embargoed, so we can't say anything about it yet, but I'm going to say keep tuned in for next week. I like Donkey Kong Country.
You can't say anything
Reviews are
about it?
we can't. I don't know what the embargo is a bit weird. Well, hold on a second. That's just video written. I've been playing an hour of it and I'm loving it. How about that? There we go.
I think here's the thing. This is why I think it's important for you to talk about this, because you're a huge Donkey Kong fan. You're a huge Donkey Kong Country fan.
Yep.
So this is basically a love letter to Donkey Kong Country, correct?
Yeah. If you were a person who was like the original the original Yooka-Laylee was trying to be like Banjo-Kazooie 64, right? And they're trying to be inspired by this. This definitely took its inspirations from Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. And so if you like that level of platforming, especially Tropical Freeze and that difficult kind of platforming and like a little bit of precision every once in a while, this is really fantastic. I've only got about an hour into it so far, but I'm really, really loving it. Currently available for pre-sale in the Nintendo Switch. I believe eShop. I believe you get 10% off on it as well. I think it's like less than 30 USD. This is really fantastic. Like they've done some really, right now the scores are coming in. I think Metacritic has it about an 85%. That is about what I'd be rating it to. I would tend to agree with it. I'm absolutely loving it. So I definitely recommend you pre-order it. Save yourself some dollars right now while it's on pre-order and you get the discount. But I would definitely say pick it up if you are a fan of like Donkey Kong Country platforming games. We're gonna have more coverage on our channel and actually gameplay footage in the early next week.
Cool. You may have just sold me on it.
Yeah, I loving it so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like Justin said, over to our YouTube channel sometime in the next week and see some play footage of that, as well as footage of Mabel and the Lost Wood, which is a game that we have that we're also not able to talk about, but we can stream. And so you should look for that early next week on our channel.
Yeah, I do want to take maybe a pause there. There is a bunch of content that has been going up on our channel. I would just encourage people to go over and take a look at it. Not only did Jesse recently put up his NeoCab one, but I also want to draw people's attention to Tim did one for Super Dodgeball Beats and for Creature in the Well. And he's going to have one with Darksiders coming up very soon. And actually, we've got some more codes. He's been killing it, and we've actually.
I have another game that'll come out that is embargoed for next week.
Yep. Exactly.
That I'll have a video out for as well.
Yeah, so we've got a ton of content on our channels, and guys, we try and provide you the coverage we can as we get it. We don't have access to every game, obviously, and we are like 4 or 5 guys shuffling through. Not to like pop collars. Today was like. Several codes came into our inbox that we have to distribute through the team and try and find time. So we try and make sure that you're aware of maybe games that we're playing, not to brag, but rather to say, like, if that's a game that maybe you're questioning, maybe you don't know if you want to play it, and we have it on our radar, feel free to wait for our either podcast conversation or content on YouTube to check it out, or any Let's Plays, just so that you can make the decision that's best for you. So don't be afraid to, again, if you need to wait, that's fine. There's so much games coming out. I actually had a developer say to us in one of the PR announcements today, I know October is a horrible month because there are so many games coming out. Could you review this game? And we also understand that your review will probably be a couple weeks late due to every other game that's coming out. So it is a jam-packed week, or it's jam-packed month. We got lots of content, so
especially
make sure you
following
subscribe.
the September that we had.
Yeah, it's back to back, right? So make sure you're subscribed to us on our YouTube channels, so that when that new content drops, you can definitely take a look at it as well.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we're going to wrap up the show, and we're going to take our community spotlight time this week to talk about Extra Life. Extra Life is coming up, and we have a team that you can go join. Just go to extralife.org and search for Nintendo Dads, and we should pop up there, the 2019 team. We would love for you, if you are planning a stream or you just like to donate, to head on over there. I know Justin is going to be doing some streaming this year. I'm going to be doing my third year of my stream. And Justin, I don't know, I don't think we've really talked about this. This year, my goal for that stream is $2,000 for our team. And I know you have a goal set in mind.
I don't yet. I want to take a look at what our goal was last year, and then kind of try and figure it. I've not done it for a couple of years. When I moved to Ireland, I haven't done it. I hadn't done it since then. So I want to set a realistic goal. I also want to I want to just do well by this. The other thing I really want to do is I just want to destroy the Mega Dads for the 5th year running. That right. to me is what's critically important, right?
The most
and apparently
the most critical aspect of this is not children. It is making them cry like children.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That is 100% my goal. And I will say this: I know that they have a team of like 10 people. They literally have to pull 10 people in to try and beat us. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how dominant of a team that they have to get more and more people to try and take us down. So, I mean, that's fine for them, whatever. Yeah. Now, I will say this, that we are going to be supporting them the week that they do theirs. We're going to jump online and have a Splatoon Splatfest Mega Dads versus the Nintendo Dads. So we're going to promote that more as we get closer, so you can tune into and give it a watch. So we are going to have lots more coverage. We're going to be streaming. We're going to be giving away prizes like we do every year. Yeah. Mega Dads is definitely, or sorry, not Mega Dads. Extra Life is such a critical component to this group, and we're excited to be a part of it. And I just encourage you, and I would encourage you, if you're like, hey, I want to support, I want to give money, and I want to give, I've only got $5. Should I give it to Nintendo Dads or Extra Life? Extra Life. That's where it goes. All right. Make sure that you are funding those people in that cause, because it is absolutely fantastic.
So, just to kind of give you some details, and again, I want to emphasize something. This is one of my favorite things that we do all year, getting to do this. And my son Isaac, he is so hyped up for this. He is all in on it. This year, he's going to join me for the entire 24 hours. Which is going to be a lot of fun. If you were here, watch the stream last year on YouTube. There was like a 2-hour block on Friday morning that he took over, and he just streamed and talked to people, and it was great. And so he's going to do a little bit more of that. We're going to be getting the family in a little bit. My family that Thursday night prior to the recording of the podcast. We do take a 2-hour gap or so in the stream to record the show during that time, and so that's part of our Extra Life stream as well. But just to let you guys know, the official Extra Life day is November 2nd. We are a week later, and so we are going to be doing our stream November 7th through the 9th. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to start at 6 p.m. on the 7th and go to 6 p.m. on the 8th. From there, we may have like a 2-hour or so gap. Jesse, we're thinking about, he might stream some, do some stuff, help us out with that.
Yeah, I was thinking about but by then the new Jackbox game will be out, so
yes,
hosting of Jackbox Party Pack 6,
Nintendo Dad's Jackbox, that'd be cool. And then Justin will pick up from there, and we'll keep going right over into the 9th. It's the biggest weekend of Extra Life that we've ever had, and we're going to give away some really cool prizes to you. And so the way that you win those is by making a donation. And so you can head over to extra-life.org and search for Nintendo Dads, join up with the team, and then the 7th through the 9th, if you make a donation, even if it's just $1, you are entered in the drawing to win those games and prizes and other things.
I'm sure we'll be able to put a link directly on our site to the donation page.
There's stuff here in this office that is Nintendo related y'all don't even know about. I may be giving away some of my personal collection this year. We may be giving away some Nintendo Dads swag, like shirts and stickers and all kinds of things like that.
I got a bunch of 7-Eleven Slurpee cups, folks.
Yeah.
Right? Those Link's Awakening Slurpee cups. I got a bunch of those.
That's a great idea, because there's some people who may not be able to get those because they don't live in Canada. And so Justin can be your hookup, right? He can be your plug for the 7-Eleven Slurpee cups. All you have to do is donate to Extra Life. I can't wait for you to see what we're going to do. The games list of what we're going to play and how we're going to do that is going to be coming out very soon. So watch our social media for that. Guys, we're pumped about Extra Life. And again, disregard what I said earlier. It is totally about the kids. It's totally about the kids and families who get life-giving care because of your donations through this. It's an amazing thing.
I want to just call out here in our Twitch chat. We're over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Nintendo Dads today. As opposed to YouTube, we're trying something different today, folks. Wouldn't you like to know? Made the comment for stuff to do during the Extra Life stream, like Ring Fit Adventure with topless Justin. There has always been a crazy goal that we set, and if we do it, it's typically Justin doing something completely ridiculous. For those of you that remember, last year was where we came up with dancing to Just Dance. Yeah, and the part of a boy band group beforehand. So I'm sure Justin's drinking all the Slurpees. I am. So I'm sure we're going to set some crazy, ridiculous goals and watch me do ridiculous stuff on stream for the kids. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And I would love suggestions of, especially like last year we had my whole family on. We had my daughter, my wife, my son, and me play Mario Party on stream. And we used the mic with the setting so you hear everybody. If you've got suggestions of games you would love to hear us do or watch us play, we'd love to know that as well, because they're going to be coming up in the early hours of my stream and helping out with that. We even teased the idea of playing some tabletop games, but I just don't know how that's going to work. So we'll figure it out. It might be something that we do on Friday and not Thursday. I don't know. Can I make a suggestion for you, Marty? Sure.
Can I suggest, because we had, and it was Nick, I think, is it Nick's doing a stream of his own as well? Let me check. I have to check my direct messages. Yeah, he was getting a list of like good 4-player games. Killer Queen Black. If you have not pre-ordered that one might be a really good, fun one to play with a bunch of people.
That's the game I was trying to think of all week. I'm like, I know I pre-ordered another game. I don't remember what it is, because it's
coming out like the 10th,
with all the Dragon Quest games I bought. It has fallen off my top 10.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the game I mean, we're going to do some
traditional, we may do some Mario Kart and stuff like that, but like that, or Towerfall or something like that. I think we'll definitely have a good time with. We may even play some Lego, because my wife is not a video gamer, but she likes Lego games. I don't know. We'll see. I wish a new Lego game was going to be out by then, but we'll see. And Ring Fit Adventure and Justin may be a totally a doable thing there.
It may be.
But guys, anyway, that closes out our show. We want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Chris Mears, Dave Ernsberger, and Tim Off, for being so awesome. And you can join them over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. Anywhere from $1 to $5 to $10 to $15 to $30 a month helps keep this circus running. And we really do appreciate each and every one of you for being on the team over there. And as we've been mentioning lately, we have a website. It's nintendodads.org. You can head over there for all of our new videos, tweets, podcast episodes, links to our social media and our Patreon page, and the Nintendo Dads shop for Nintendo Dads merch. You can also find us in all of the social medias: Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, in YouTube, just type in Nintendo Dads. Boom, there will be. It'll be awesome. Or
Marty,
yes.
can I make one last thing? I know you're on the roll. I apologize. We should have said this before.
Good.
I'm so sorry. Can we stop the music for 1 second, Jesse? Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we forgot to mention, is our 250th episode.
We mentioned it, but we didn't make a big deal about it.
We didn't make a big deal of it. It will be officially, we're going to make a small big deal of this. It will also be officially Nintendo Dad's 5-year anniversary. 5 years, 250 episodes of the main podcast. We don't have anything huge, crazy, special planned. As you mentioned, I'm going to try and get maybe guests to come on. Maybe Sean. Maybe I'll give Zach a phone call, see if he can make it. But if you guys have an opportunity, if you guys want to send any audio clips, any emails, we'll probably spend a little bit of time talking about the show. But it's just a little bit of celebration. Nothing too crazy. Just celebrating 250 episodes, 5 years, and moving on. So again, if you guys want to throw in emails or voicemails or web videos or whatever, we're happy to play that here as well. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it and found a community here, much like we have. So I'm sorry, Marty, I stopped your flow.
No, that was perfectly good. And I mean, yeah, we would love to hear from you about anything about episode 250 or anything like that. So you can email us all of that at nintendodads@gmail.com or at podcast.nintendodads.org. That's our brand new email address, podcast@nintendodads.org. You can send those video clips or whatever to there. Or, hey, if you really want to tell us how much you love us and you really want us to hear it in your voice, you can call in and leave us a voicemail, 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. And hey guys, listen, sharing is caring. So the more people that you can share these episodes with and talk about Nintendo Dads, and the more you can get people to go online and leave us a review and give us 5 stars, a written review, that's not to stroke our ego. That's to help people find the show when they search for Nintendo in iTunes Podcast or Google Play Podcast. The more we get reviewed, the more we get, the closer we get to the top. And so helping us do that just helps the show. It helps you. We want to say big thanks to OC Remix for music throughout the show, and Adam Leonard and Carter Johnson for all the artwork they do for us. For me, for Justin, for Jesse, this has been episode 249 of Nintendo Dads. Hope you have an awesome day. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Wobble Puffet? Wobble Buffet?